You want me to move the table? What? Want me to move the table over here? Sure.
Really feel around waiting for something to happen.
And I'll.
Thank you. When I had to do that myself.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 5:59 p.m. Let's have some introductions.
Scott Breyer, Select Board. Tom Morley, Select Board.
Matt Maxwell, Town Administrator. Let's start with you, Leo.
Leo PM, town resident.
Is this the other planning commission?
The Maxwell Planning Commission.
Mo Jacobs.
Deb,
Deb Tangway, Town Clerk, Down Bookkeeper.
Kathleen,
Kathleen Ahern, taxpayer.
Carrie. David,
Dave Gallup, Road Commissioner and Selectman.
thank you. Any changes or additions to tonight's agenda? I have one. We've got to add a liquor and tobacco license approval under other business for Deb Tangway. That should be the last one of those. Public comment. Any of you good folks out there got anything to comment on? Okay, we will move on to select board vacancy.
You have that.
You want to make the one?
That's just your draft.
Yeah, those are the drafts. And then let the record show that Phil Marquette has walked into the room.
You have that agreement?
Yes.
So these are working drafts. We're not gonna put them as that.
I got fireworks.
Okay. So we're gonna be making up a draft.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it to the next meeting. We won't want that today.
Oh, perfect, cool. Wait,
I can do it if you want.
yes, okay.
How do you do it? Okay. Matt, take that back.
Yeah.
We're not gonna deal with those. It's a working draft.
Right.
You changed that, or did she say?
She sent me that with my name on it.
Okay.
So as far as the select board vacancy, I'm gonna, you wanna vote on, it? You wanna work up a draft, work up something to put in the, I guess, what would you call it? Just.
So Matt and I have talked about this. The select board vacancy, my belief would be to conduct all of that business in open session. It's not an employee. It's something that we need to fill. And so I think we need to notice that everybody in town, whoever's interested in the job, just like town meeting. And so Matt would be able to put an ad in the paper and website
I'll put it on the website, yep.
and public notice around town, however you do those things.
All our regular posting spots.
And we should hear from folks a deadline of
March 31st,
March 31st, which is a
2020.
Friday
Friday.
before your next meeting. And whoever's interested can directly communicate with Matt. Either one of us, I suppose, if they want to, but we're just pushing the Matt. And he'll make that lift and we do a special meeting for it.
Okay.
And whoever can come in just like we are today, and tell us why they want to be part of the board.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So there's no reason for anything on that tonight,
Okay.
but you're all good with that.
I'm all good, I just, if
Yeah.
you need anything you guys needed to add to what anything we've already spoken about, other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, so I think that's all we need to do.
Okay. Next up, we have the road crew vacancy.
So that's a little different because it's an employee. And so similarly, you would need to put the job description together. You would need to post the job. Is there a minimum amount of time that needs to be posted? No. So what's reasonable? How long would you want to post it for?
I would think 2 weeks, you,
At least, yeah.
so maybe not by our next meeting, but the following meeting. Have reviewed the applications, maybe done some interviews, and then,
So not for the April 3rd meeting, but for the second meeting in April, correct?
So in your advertisement for the position, you'd have to put a deadline for applicants. So you would have to come up with that date first. So that date you want to go out 4 weeks.
I think so.
So you want to do that?
4 weeks from
And
today.
so do the
4 weeks from
Friday,
tomorrow.
the Friday before that
That next
meeting, whatever that would be, whatever that date is.
Yep.
And for your newspaper ad, you'd have to have a bit of a condensed
Right.
version of what the road worker would be looking for with a pay range. I know you've done some of that work already,
Yep.
so we're not changing it from what it is currently,
Right.
right? It's the same position that you've had that John has held.
Right.
Yeah, so. Put a link there so they can go to the town website
Mhm.
and put the specs, total job specs on the website so people can see it and understand it.
The complete job description.
Yeah.
Website,
Yeah.
as opposed to what I'm gonna put in the paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
A link there, an
Yeah.
indication on how they can find that.
Mhm.
With that date, and then we get to that point, and then we make a decision on interviews. Depending on your applicants.
Okay, next up, we have the photocopying fees at the town office.
That's my pet peeve. I've talked to folks around. I don't believe that we should be charging people for photocopies. People come in and need a copy of something, whatever it might be, if they're a town resident.
As long as it's a town document. Or even if they want a copy of something for their own personal use.
I think at this point, Deb and I talked about this the other day, and she was coming up with some other ideas too, and I liked them. I just think that it's the right thing to do for the people that live here. If somebody needs it, nobody has a photocopier at their house, you know? And so if somebody needs a copy of something because they're gonna go get a passport or something, they should be able to come in here, I think, within reason and get what they need from us. If it becomes a problem, I guess we would just ask Matt and Deb, you know, if you've got some crazy thing that comes in here, then, you know, asking for 1 million copies, then we might have to revisit that, but I can't anticipate that, can you?
No, and I'm willing to donate an old copy if you have a place to put it. I mean, we recycle them all the time, so.
You haven't had a lot of people anyway, right, Matt? Normally that are coming in looking for photocopies,
No, mostly they want copies of their tax bills.
tax bills,
Yes.
Which we have already provided them.
yeah.
In my experience, the first couple of years I was treasurer, was we didn't charge, we just. It's roughly 10 minutes to find it, print it out, either electronically or physically. It's not an insignificant amount of effort.
Right,
For something we've already given.
yeah. I was that guy a couple of years ago, I must admit, and I felt a little put out. That, you know, you're a town resident, pay your taxes, you misplaced it, whatever. I just think we should help people out. I don't think it's a big deal.
I was tired of being people's file cabinets. You have a fairly large number of habitual folks who just treated the town as their file cabinet. And we get rather demanding when we couldn't turn something around quickly. Fax this to my office right now. Do this, do that. Like, okay, well, the cost is X. All of a sudden, and the same is true this year, you get these requests in, when they find out that it costs,
They
all of a sudden
find
it goes away,
they
the
find
tax bill probably got found, just the return, it never got bought. That was I don't know that they found it, but they never came back after. So I caution that it's a pretty big time sink, and it's not just tax bills, it's photocopying of deeds, other documents that you've already got a copy. We've given you a copy. You've got a copy. I think it's reasonable that we do charge for that stuff, but you've already been provided a copy. You're just coming back for more.
I mean, I can say within the last 2 weeks, I think I have made 15 copies of tax bills during my days for when I am here. Some the individual just stated it's just somewhere's on their desk and they didn't want to go looking for their copy on their desk. A couple where we just recently bought a property, so we never received the tax bill. That's absolutely understandable. And then the rest were just, yeah, we can print you a copy, come on in. I know myself, I do not really see too many people who really grieve over having to pay the dollar. I think they're just happy that you need your extra copy. You don't want to take the time to go look for it in your filing cabinet. I'm going to pay you $1 so that you can go ahead and reprint it back out for me. But I know I had mentioned possibly maybe the fact of placing the non-confidential copies of tax bills online for people to be able to go and access that data directly from there, whether it's researchers, attorneys, lawyers, or residents. The only fault to that is one, sometimes the residents really need their confidential copy, which states or cites their state tax payment. That we cannot place on the internet for people to be able to see. But then you're also wavering on that aspect of how much is too much information to put out on the internet when you've got Joe Scammer over in, you know, Newbury, Connecticut. Hey, I just found Scott Morley. Now he's got access to Scott Morley's name, to his physical address, other different information of that feature. So then you do have that other tie is, how much information do we want to put out there, make it easy for people to find, but then how easy are we making our residents being viable to that we've seen internet scams and everything else that's starting to pop up even more in this day and age.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, this has turned into our hottest agenda item so far. For $1 copy.
It isn't about the money, it's about the time, I think, it's the time.
So you think that the dollar is actually driving people away from here?
I think in many cases it motivates people to look on their desk and find their tax bill.
Some it does.
Now, and I don't begrudge people that, okay, I lost my tax bill. Okay, that's great. We'll do that. I try to be pleasant about it. It's just that I think there needs to be some appetite suppressed. Otherwise, I know what we became first couple of years in the job, and that was for me. It was a flurry of just tax bills going everywhere this time. Starts in February and goes all the way through April. The same bills we issued back in August.
Sounds
And
like,
yes,
sounds like I'm outvoted. I mean,
But the different separate issue, I'm not trying to weigh in on the issue of people being able to come in and just make copies, that's. Separate issue.
If somebody wants to come in and make a copy of something, I think in their town resident, I would be okay with giving them a copy, but when it's something that you're gonna have to do, if it's like a deed or a tax bill, that's a pain in the ass. If you're already given them one, I think they should have to pay. But if they want a copy because they don't have a copy at their house, I would think,
I'll let Deb weigh in on that, that's her time,
yeah,
I mean, because I do have some people who have come in, they need to send paperwork for Social Security or something to that effect, and they'd like to have a copy. So I go through, I do make a copy of that, but that's at a different level than the tax bill copy. Technically, I know according to the LCT, we do have our statement of fees that they say that we are supposed to assess. A copy of that nature is 25 cents per page. So that's technically what I do, go ahead and charge them for some of those scenarios in that, you know, in that case. Do we see that a lot? No, but it definitely does occur based on, you know, some individuals, because like Scott said, there's a lot of people who do not have copiers. I have a lot of folks who come in with their dog license, their rabies certificate. First thing I ask, is this my copy or your copy? No, that's my copy. I don't have a copier. That's fine. I go ahead, I make the copy for myself to keep. I give them back the original. And for like items of that nature, I do not charge, because the copy I am making is for my benefit and not actually for the residents' benefit. I also have some people who will come and say, hey, I need to fax this. Can you fax this? They provide services for like NECA or whatnot. They have a listing of the individuals who they've had to service, and it's easier for them. And like this one in particular person, she's not even a town resident, but she just stops in. Can you fax this for me? Sure. But it's the same protocol as far as, hey, we're doing this fax for you. It's this per, you know, number of pages. And she's happy, very, you know, she's very happy. And she's, here you go, here's your money, and out the door she goes.
All right, well, let's leave it alone for now, and I'll see how many,
complaints you
Complaints
get.
I
No
get.
one's ever complained to me.
yeah.
Okay, next up, we have ARPA funds.
That was another one for me, mostly because I needed to be brought up to speed on it. I got with Dave before the meeting a little bit, and he helped me out understanding some of it. I come across sort of getting up to speed here on things that you guys have done. So my understanding now is the ARPA funds we have dedicated to some amount of money to the school.
I don't think we've given any to the school, no.
Yeah, you did 10,000 for the new hot lunch tables.
Yes.
Remember that.
Okay, I don't think the select board ever, did you guys approve
I
that?
think we did.
You did?
Yeah.
Mhm.
David?
Yes, it was,
Yeah, so you
That
did.
was like back in December-ish, I think.
What? Well, I remember the fire district one, and I remember we talked about the school one, but I don't,
Yeah.
if you say we did, but,
So it's been spent, right?
well, some of it has.
The school.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I thought it's, we need to clean this line up probably for the ARPA issues. So the two decisions that I'm informed that we've made is for the school, which has that all been expended? Is that Dave?
I don't know, Deb, did the school expend all their money?
Yes, they have. I mean, and I think you folk, well, I'm saying you folks had allotted up to 10,000. The bill actually came in for, I think, like maybe 9,500-ish. I've given that to David. We paid for half of the tables. The SU was under the misunderstanding to not go ahead and submit the final half payment, so I just barely instructed that to happen. I signed that check and got that mailed out this week. So I did furnish one check that has cleared in the invoice, and I let Dave Barlow know that as soon as my other check clears through the bank, I'll make a copy of that clear check to send that to him, and then you folks can go ahead and just issue one check versus issuing two different checks.
Okay. So that's
We
that.
also had the 16,000 we dedicated to the cement work on the salt shed.
Salt shed, Dave?
Yeah, we got the prices on the cement work for the addition to the salt shed, and I think we're pretty sure we approved spending that money on that project.
Okay, we can figure that out. There's blank looks in the room on whether.
No, we did it. We did it just a few weeks ago. We got the quotes from Goslin's and Richard McAllister.
But
And I'm pretty sure we decided that night that we were going to take that out of the ARPA funds. It hasn't been spent yet.
so there was the board made the decision on that. We can look at it.
We'll have to look that up. I remember going through the
I
quotes
can
and the
remember the
$1,000.
quotes from McAllister and
$1,000,
stuff. I don't know if they.
So you're not sure if it was just discussion or if it was actually a
Correct.
decision that you made to expend the ARPA funds on it. So we can look back through
Yeah.
and figure that out
Yeah.
either way. So that will, okay, so that's a salt shed. And then the other one was the fire district.
Yes, that's for their meter project.
Yeah,
That is gonna be starting right up now that the snow is starting to disappear in April sometime. We've gone ahead, or I should say, they've gone ahead and ordered the meters. They've expensed out approximately $10,000 thus far. There's some meters that are still on back order. But those should be coming in very soon, and then Pedro will actually be starting to go around and get those installed at all the different places. I would assume that project may be 2 months, hopefully 3, the longest. But again, a lot of that is just going to depend on when we get all the parts in and Pedro's timing and getting the meters installed.
okay. So that was the first one of these expenses that came across my attention, and I was thinking about that, and it's hopefully not misplaced for the meeting here, but you know, those are funds that they should have been getting directly from the state, not through the town.
No, that's actually something where when they put this money out, and this is something that the state inadvertently noticed after the fact, is they excluded fire districts. So what happened is when the state first created this ARPA funds, it came through and it was like, okay, you can use it on this. And then they went and they revamped it and said, okay, now you can use it on A and B. And then they went and revamped it, and now you can use it on A, B, and C, where they added water districts or fire districts because they noticed they inadvertently totally left out fire districts from the ARPA funding. And so basically we were instructed to go to our towns to go ahead and request to see what we can receive for ARPA funds. So that's exactly what the Coventry Fire District did. I know I do the books for another fire district in East Calais. They did the exact same thing. They went to their select board. They were actually awarded $65,000 from their select board to use for their fire district for different projects that they're going to have going on within theirs. If the state would have allotted money specifically for water districts or fire districts, you're absolutely correct. That would have been their own funding, but the state neglected. And again, they just noticed that too late. They did come back out with another state funding that they created, but the problem is that was basically created for all the very larger state municipal water fire districts. So by the time that funding went out, it was like dissipated before it was even created, which sort of left the fire districts in a behind left out stage, but that's why they say they revamped it to add fire districts as being able to receive it from towns.
Okay, so sometimes I guess we get caught up in, talking about ARPA and we don't expand the thought process beyond that. We're very fortunate in this town to have Mike Marcotte. And Mike has talked with me a couple of times and has been very specific that this fire district is eligible for a lot of different monies for such projects. And the state has those funds set aside now and are looking for candidates. So it's not ARPA money, it's different type of money. So I'm gonna help make that bridge too with
Snedeker,
with
right.
David Snedeker. And so, again, my point was not to get caught up in the ARPA, something's ARPA or not ARPA, it's money. It was town money. And so my question was, how much have we promised out and how much have we expended and where do we either rescind or not rescind those sorts of decisions because that money is available through other channels. So I get it on the fire district. We promised the money and they are doing the work. So I suppose we leave it alone. But at the same time, I think in the future going forward, we really work hard to educate ourselves, use the resources we have, talk to representatives and senators. We're very fortunate in the area and figure that stuff out.
Yeah, and we'll definitely do that as well. I know before we ended up going to the town with our request, we worked very closely with ANR and also with RCAP as far as the fire district goes. And so that was conversations with them as far as what is out there available for us for funding. And what we got back from the state is you don't have anything out there for funding. This is what you need to do with the ARPA funds. So I know that's what we were going based off from as far as that contact. So I guess I'll reach out to Mike Marcotte to see what he's referring about, because as far as our state ANR guy, he's stating there is nothing else out there right now that we can utilize. There is some money out there for some of our members if they need assistance with paying some of their past due utility bills. Absolutely, that assistance is there. But as far as us specifically, to my knowledge, for what we've been told, there isn't any other grant funding available.
Yeah, so why don't you reach out to Mike? That's a good idea on their behalf. And I know we've got a meeting scheduled sometime and I'll try to get some more information to just, help that situation out. And I'm pretty confident that we can help that. But so I guess what we need to do now is
Get a list. Let's get a list of everything that we've promised out of and what's been approved.
right.
Okay.
Does that sound right? Get the list of what's been approved.
Stand ready, he's got it on it right now.
And
You
then
have
we
it.
need to
Now,
figure out what we want to expend the rest of it for town and make those decisions in the coming months. Because we're not gonna want that to linger.
I think, when do we have to 2025? It has to be.
We have to have it encumbered by the end of this year, I believe, at the end of 24. And then expended.
Yeah, the
like
fiscal year.
fiscal year, but federal fiscal year, so. end of September.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So.
So that's why I can't get that up to review.
Yeah, because it's good. Yeah, use it up. So just, it's good money still to have.
Yeah.
Be able to do some
Matt,
different things.
Yeah.
that committee was going to support you just as a.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
All right.
Okay, next we have the treasurer's report.
Then if you want to, I can throw it up on the screen if you.
Yes, I would love that.
It's just so.
Great. Oh, do you need me to get out of the way?
No. If you just transfer, give me
Share screen,
share screen.
gotcha.
Yeah, he's got somebody that wants something like that.
You are screen sharing.
Matt is screen sharing.
Yeah, I think
It's
you're,
stop
I think
share.
you're speech.
Oh, stop share. Got it.
There
And
you go.
then down on the bottom, click the arrow on the screen share.
Click the arrow on the share, when it says share screen.
Right.
Yep.
To the right. Go a little bit further to the right.
Nope.
Wrong way.
The little teeny arrow.
The little teeny tiny arrow,
Oh, this one.
that one. And then-
One participant.
Yeah, do the other one, next one then. Do what it is.
And see, wasn't it worth the wait?
Oh, my God.
The audience goes wild.
How it goes wild.
I guess they didn't, okay. So, this is as of February 28th. Prior to the town meeting. Expenses, revenues and expenses were average, it's generally what you'd expect for February. In the general fund perspective only, about 2,800 in revenue and 40,400 in expenses. You can see the ARPA funds showing up there. Currently showing 35,000, but it's a little bit more than that obligated to the two different obligations you heard earlier. Reserve fund spending for February, buildings and maintenance had a couple that totaled 9,369. They were both meeting house related, the gutters and the snow guards. So H2O related both. Roads infrastructure fund was engineering work for Lane Road, I believe.
Yep.
And community economic development was the sidewalk study. And that totaled 15,894. And just as a reminder, that money gets paid out through the general fund checking account, so I reimburse the general fund for that money, which is why you see the two amounts up here under revenues and expenses. So as we move that money from reserve funds into the general fund, it looks like revenue and expense, but it's not general fund revenue. It's reasonably clear on that as I can be. You know, it's probably retains some confusing aspects. February was, I would say, for these times, about an average month for the investments. They kind of went nowhere. And if you don't have any questions on the February section, I'll talk about what happened after town meeting. Steps I take here. Ready for that? Switch screen a little bit just to remind the viewing audience that we had some articles in town meeting that voted out in the affirmative. So I went ahead based on previous guidance from our auditing firm and just got those done right away. The movement of excess revenue from fiscal year 22, the number of articles there. So I've moved 200,000 out of the general fund to building and maintenance, 350,000 out of the general fund to roads infrastructure reserve fund, 200,000 to the roads capital equipment reserve fund, 100,000 to reappraisal fund, 50,000 to flood recovery and mitigation. And the list goes on the next page, 300,000 to the long-term investment, or 1.2 million out of the general fund. Say, well, what happened? Okay. So the general fund went from almost 2 million, February 28th, to now about 780,000. Roughly. So that's all done. And if there are no questions, I will surrender the screen back to Matt. Unheard. Screen's ready.
Okay, thanks, David.
Thank you, Dave. I guess.
Next up is other business.
I need a call.
You want your dollar, you lose your tax bill, we're getting your dollar more like.
We'll start with the liquor and tobacco license for Kathy Holbrook,
From Martha's Diner.
Martha's Diner.
Nothing's changed, the same as last year.
Correct, yeah. And just to let you know, Scott, that has actually changed this year, how we process the liquor licenses. Prior to, the state would send me basically like a form. Well, you may remember couple years ago when you were actually on the board. I would present you the form. It would list all their information. You as a board would have to sign off on that. And then I would have to send that back to the state. And then they created their actual certificates and then mailed those to me. I had to sign them and then get them to our 3 liquor control people, or I should say vendors. How they're doing it now is it's all online. They have to initiate their request for both tobacco and liquor. We never had to do anything with tobacco prior to. Tobacco, we do not receive a fee. Liquor licenses, we do receive a fee. Once I see the applications pending, I send a courtesy email to them, letting them know, I see your application, but I cannot bring it to the select board until we receive your payment, which is what the state has advised us to do. So as soon as I see their check come in for their payment, then I go ahead and I print off the screen that you now see, which is the only thing that I can give you as far as their information. You just review it, and if you're okay and you don't think there's been any issues at that establishment, then the board just says, yep, this is a go. Then I go back into my online portal. I mark that I've received the payment. As soon as I do that, it automatically goes to the state side. They automatically issue that license and it gets sent directly right to like Martha's Diner, Royers, or to Little John's. So it
Right.
really.
Yeah, in the past, we had like a
Yeah.
hand application and we'd actually see.
Absolutely. Yeah, but not anymore.
$185. Now this is it, so. So I make a motion to approve liquor license. This is just, is this tobacco too?
No, just the liquor. Tobaccos, you don't need to, but she doesn't have one for tobacco. Little John and Royers have tobacco and beer.
So moved.
Yeah, under Kathy Holbrook.
Thanks, Dave.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next up, we have the fireworks contract.
This is the same one we've approved, didn't we?
Yes,
approve this a while ago?
so what happened was we approved the pre-buy and we didn't technically approve anybody to sign the contract once it came in because we didn't have the contract at that time. So the contract came in when I said, yes, we'll do the pre-buy, they said the invoice, the contract, and everything. That invoice is in the warrants tonight. The North Star, you probably can't hear me.
That was actually in the quickie AP run that Scott approved
So that-
last week.
So it just needs to be approved for, I think, Matt's name's on it.
My name's on the contract.
And then there's,
You sign it.
and then there's the permit that needs to be signed by the board.
Yeah, you guys have to sign the second page.
So do we have to approve the $7,000 contract?
You've already approved the $7,000. You just have to approve me to sign that contract. Since it's
On
got,
behalf of the town.
since it's got my name.
And you're gonna sign the second page.
Okay, so I make a motion to have Matt Axwell sign the North Star fireworks contract.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Then you just have to have an approval for the permit. Then you two sign it.
So I make a motion. The fireworks display permit for North Star fireworks. Do we have it for August 26th, 2023? If there's a postponed date, it would be August 27th, 2023. Location is a Coventry.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Next up, we have the maintenance agreement between the town of Coventry and, is it Phil, or do you have, Small Business IT Solutions? And Phil, you want to talk about it, or?
So I put together a maintenance agreement. I kind of been doing the IT work along with David Barlow. As approved through the board, I guess, on it. And since I'm not on there anymore, having the access to that. The select board, being the select board gave authority of. if you guys wanted to be. Probably good to have it here. Business, you know, if that makes sense.
So I'm coming into this one a little bit cold, sorry. Back me up. Who did it before you?
It was an on-call with Tech Patrol, I believe. So when I got onto the board,
Yeah,
Amanda said, here, you know what you're doing. Why don't we just use you since you're already on the board and.
yeah.
That I haven't been charging anything because I didn't feel right doing it, being on the board at the same time, so.
So that's why our website's not getting done.
Okay, that's right, Tech Patrol, so you stepped in for them on the
Tech-
level that
Tech
you
Patrol.
can.
I think it was Tech Patrol.
It was technical, definitely.
Okay,
So if you bill us in 15-minute increments, we only want you to work 14 minutes and leave.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't get, you can, Scott, I'm assuming you didn't see it before tonight.
I haven't,
It
no,
doesn't have to be done tonight, I just.
Well, it was in your packet, Scott, that I sent out.
sorry.
He's gonna, oh, you remember that?
I haven't seen this.
I just wanted to make sure.
So you have one right now? you don't
No,
have a
we don't.
contract?
No, he's been pro bono.
He's been doing the work for free.
Okay, you're looking for a raise.
He's just looking to get paid. Just looking to get paid something.
It's
So,
more or less looking to make sure it's like,
so we don't have a line
because
item
I have the authorities. There is a.
There is an IT line.
Oh, there it is.
that'll cover that.
Yeah, it's not a lot of work.
Okay,
But when you need it, you need it.
yeah, I just,
David's been doing a lot of stuff.
I gotta read that. Right now,
No, you don't have to.
No,
You don't have to.
yeah, so can we put this on the next meeting?
Yes.
And just so I can read it, I'll call you, you educate me so I'm not foolish and we'll make it happen, whatever needs to happen, we'll make it happen. I just won't gotta get it read.
He's worked for 3 years for free, so
Yeah.
like another 2 weeks will be fine.
I have that.
I need a copy of it.
Right, yeah.
And Phil, can you provide us a copy of your certificate of insurance at the same time
Yeah.
too? That way we'll make our auditors happy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the approval of minutes, and there's a bunch of them. You may do them all at once if you'd like, or you can do them one at a time.
Have you read these?
I watched
one.
the video on the one I wasn't present for, which would have been what, March 1st?
Yeah.
So,
Dave's here too, though.
That's the one that David asked.
Dave's here, so he can,
oh, good.
he
So
can
that's
just,
good.
he was there.
Do that one.
That meeting, he can approve it.
So I make a motion to approve Wednesday, March 1st, 2023 minutes.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's on his cell phone.
I can't hear him.
I think he said I approved the minutes.
So.
Sorry, Dave, you broke up.
He did say
So
so.
move.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Okay, so that was 3-1. Got 3 more sets.
Do them once.
I don't know. the rest of them.
So I make a motion, to approve the minutes from 3/8, 3/13, and 3/15, 2023.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, lastly, we have the warrants.
I don't mind doing it. 5 minutes.
You guys all set?
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye.
I think there's one warrant page in there that only had one signature, so it just requires another signature.
Okay,
I think I got at the very back. But I do have one other question while you're working on the warrants. There was one check for the attorneys for 1850 that was held out for further verification. Is that check still being held?
so I asked Matt about that the other day, after the bill came, the information came. So I'm okay with the bill makes sense. So I'm okay to pay the bill. We need a motion.
You should, because that one you had approved the warrants without paying that one.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve Monahan's bill in the $1,875 range.
50, I think 1850, yeah.
$1,850 that we had left out of the warrants last time.
And now you've got the work product.
Yeah,
Second.
second. All those in favor?
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, Deb.
Now, are these some that I've already looked at and seen?
I just got these today, so.
Okay, so those aren't the ones that
No.
I've seen already.
Yes.
Oh.
Nope, they have, because you were emailed those on Friday, Scott.
Okay, so those are. the ones
Those,
I've
yeah,
already-
those were the ones that I said just for you to review, but no action was needed
Yep,
until Monday's meeting.
got it. Thank you.
Have we applied for any of the sidewalk study money back yet? Like this is the biggest scam.
Your, meaning me, is getting close to getting it out the door. I have rounded up all the invoices. I am working my way through the rather, let me say, challenging versions of spreadsheets and so forth that they were, V-Trans requires. It's almost through. Well, on good news, I did get the 50K out of the Vermont Preservation Trust for the meeting house. So that check has arrived in,
Yay.
years later.
I think that's what they hope,
That
that
grant has been.
they hope,
Just forget we do.
they hope the town doesn't follow through if it gets some grant money. It's really.
Well.
So everybody in the room is totally up to speed on all this other than me probably, so all of the finer details, so I can get that
Oh,
later.
yeah. They bill us for nothing
Right.
and they know how much the grant is and then we get the money back. And then we have a sidewalk study. How's the sidewalk? You did, huh? Just a study. That's what they do.
It will be well studied. I'm looking for an alternative.
This is over here.
And it's almost.
Was this for the plastic over here, test pits?
Yes. That's Verizon.
Yep.
That's cheap to come do some holes, huh?
Well, they're gonna give us a whole.
There were all holes.
Well, we dug them too. Dave dug them, right?
Yeah, that's where the treasure is. We didn't find the cash, so no. They got the whole. Yeah.
Thoughts?
Caledonia County,
Record? Newspaper?
That's for advertising of the warning.
$1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because with the school having the bond vote, that had to be advertised 3 different times on the same day.
They have water, too.
Yep. That's amazing increase in the year. Yeah,
What are you gonna do when there's no newspapers left to post stuff in? Motion to adjourn.
We gotta need to approve the rest of those warrants first.
Make a motion to approve the warrant.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, go ahead, Scott.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Nice job, gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night,
See you,
thanks,
Deb.
Deb.
Thank you.